Last week, one of you voted that we should talk about how to actually film yourself as a content creator, especially as a beginner. And that is why in today's video, I'm going to give you everything I do in order for me to actually film myself with, of course, the help of my partner to be able to stay consistent with video content creation. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Gloriah, and let's get to it. So the first thing we need to talk about is your planning and setup. Now, in order for you to actually create video content, you need to have at least a form of camera. Now, for me, I use my phone camera and I don't use the front camera. I usually use the rear camera because it has way more megapixels as compared to the front camera. However, if you're creating content on TikTok, because I do create content on TikTok, I usually use my front camera as compared to my back camera, and the reason is quite simple. With my front camera, I usually use it on my TikTok account because TikTok has its own AI enhancing features when you're shooting with any camera, so whether that's the back camera or the front camera. And so it allows me to create content that is of high quality with the front camera that I usually have with the megapixels that it has for my TikTok content. However, when it comes to YouTube, because I do not have any AI that's improving the quality, I do prefer using the rear camera because it has high megapixels, and then it allows me to shoot more quality videos as compared to the front camera. So if you're kind of stuck on how you should be creating or which camera of your phone you should be using, depending on what your needs are for that particular video, you can choose either the front camera or the rear camera based on what your needs at the time actually are. And then the second thing that I would tell you with your phone camera is always ensure you've cleaned your lenses before you start shooting. Now, the reason why a lot of footage usually appears to be shaky or it appears to be of low quality is because a lot of the times, especially when we are handling our phones, we do place our fingers and it leaves fingerprints on the camera lenses. So it's very, very important for you to ensure that before you start any shoot, always ensure that you have cleaned your camera so that you can increase the quality when you start shooting your footage. The next thing we need to talk about is your production setup. Now, as you guys can see, my setup is really simple and I choose it to be that simple because honestly, I'm doing talking head videos. So depending with what kind of videos you're creating for your social media channels, you also need to ensure that the setup that you're taking has the level of quality and the level of production that you actually want. Now, for me, for example, because I'm doing talking head videos on my YouTube channel, I mostly aim to keep the production setup really simple and to ensure that there's not too many distraction or too much distraction with whatever I am filming. However, if you're doing a vlog style kind of video, of course the setup will be different depending on what kind of story you're going to be telling. The next thing we have to talk about is your audio and environmental setup. Now, the reason why I really emphasize on ensuring you have clean audio is because people can tolerate bad video quality, but no one can tolerate bad audio. So it's very important you pay attention to how your audio is coming out. And for me specifically, what I do is my production setup usually happens in my living room because it has furniture and therefore there is not a lot of echo when I am recording my videos. Here are some tips on what you can do to reduce echo. What I used to do is I used to lay flat a lot of the blankets that I have in my house. So I would put down all the blankets on the floor so that it can start absorbing the audio that is the echo that's going to come out when I'm filming. And then the second thing that I used to do is I used to ensure that when I'm filming, I am very close to my phone. Now, the reason why I used to do that is so that I can also reduce the echo that is happening when I am talking. And then the third thing that I did is I actually reduced my volume when I am shooting. If you guys have noticed, nowadays when I am filming my content, I rarely shout as compared to back then. If you scroll to my YouTube channel down there, you will find old videos of me, and you'll notice that the pitch that I am using right now is more regulated when I am filming my content as compared to the pitch that I used to use back in the day. And the reason why I did that is because I also wanted to ensure that people can hear me more than they can hear the echo. The next thing we need to talk about filming yourself is video lighting, as well as the number of shots that you can take. Now I'm going to divide this into two, and the first thing we're going to talk about is your video lighting. Now there are two sets of lighting you can actually have that would make sense for video content creation, at least based on my experience. The first one, which is where we all get started with, is natural lighting. This is the best form of content lighting that you can actually have when you're filming your video, because the good thing about natural light is that it doesn't really change the appearance of how you look. It doesn't make the flaws that you have on your skin to disappear in the content that you're filming, and that is why natural lighting is so good. So if you don't have money, or if you don't have a budget to actually get some professional lighting, and you can actually time the morning sun or the evening sun, or you film outside your house, make sure that you know how to work with natural lighting, because it is the best kind of video lighting you can have. However, for those of us who usually film at odd hours like me, we do need to have professional lighting. And just as you can see in my production, I do have two sets of light. The first light is my fill light, which essentially ensures that you guys can see my face and you can be able to see other things that are around me in my production setup. And then the second set of light that I have is usually my desktop lighting, or my desktop lamp. So this desktop lamp, essentially what it does is that it helps enhance the appearance that you have of me in front of the camera. And then the third light that I usually use is the blue light that you can see. Now this particular blue light essentially is so that I can ensure I stay with my branding, because if you guys have noticed, blue is a very dominant color in my filming. So the reason why I use it as my background lighting is so that you guys can also get to see the kind of brand visibility and brand presence that I usually have in my videos. And yes, everything in my production setup has a reason why it exists. And then the second thing we need to talk about are your shots. Now there are a number of shots that you can take when you're filming yourself, depending on whether or not you have a tripod, which, by the way, if I didn't mention, you need to have a tripod, and it's very important. As you've seen, I usually have a tripod in my filming, and it allows me to be able to be a little bit creative with the kind of shots that I take, because my video footage is not shaky and it doesn't depend on me to hold the camera for me to get those shots. So the kind of shots that I'm talking about are, number one, your long shot. And the long shot essentially is for establishing the scene so that you guys can get a visual picture of exactly where this person is placed, what is in the surrounding of where they're filming, so that it can also give you a chance to relate with where the person or the speaker is actually present in. The second shot is the medium shot, and a lot of the times the medium shot is used to enhance interest. So when you're close to me, a lot of the times you're going to pay attention to me, and that's why the medium shot usually exists, so that you can feel the presence and the mood that the speaker is actually having. And that's why in the videos that I do for Talking Head, I will also ensure I include some medium shots so that you guys can come close to me and you can feel like I am next to you. We are talking on a table, so that you can also experience my presence. The third shot is a close-up, and a close-up essentially is meant to manipulate the scene, also to manipulate the emotions of the person who is listening to me when I'm speaking, because a close-up essentially will make you feel like we're sharing a secret. Because you're really close to me, it's like I'm giving you the feeling of you are talking to me directly, and whatever I'm sharing with you is not going to be spread across or spilled out as an announcement. Rather, this is looking like a relationship where we're sharing a secret, and that's what close-up shots usually give out the feeling of when you are doing your filming. And then the next shot is a POV shot. Now a POV shot essentially is meant for you to actually get to be in the room with the person who is actually showing you that particular shot. For example, for me, when I include POV shot, or this particular POV shot that I'm including here, I am trying to ensure that you guys see what I am doing, and I am essentially bringing you to see through my eyes what I am doing. And a POV shot essentially is going to be really important, especially when you're vlogging, because it does help the people who are viewing your videos and your vlogs to actually feel like they're in the room with you. And then a bonus shot that you can try including is the side shot or the side angle. So this particular angle, it basically makes you feel like you're part of the viewing audience, and it's mostly used in talking shows or live recordings, especially during podcasts and all of this, and podcast style kind of videos. And the reason why it's important is because it gives you a side angle or a side view of what the speaker is actually saying, or what the audiences in that particular room are getting to see through the eyes of that particular angle. The next thing we have to talk about is camera confidence. Now, I did do a video talking to you or walking you through exactly how you can build camera confidence. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll definitely include it up here for you to go and watch it. But essentially, when we're talking about camera confidence, these are the two main things I want you to pay attention when you're filming yourself. And the very first thing that you're going to do is that you're going to ensure you understand your audience's psychographic and you create your content towards it. Now, a lot of the times, especially when I am coming up with my video content, I try to ensure that I envision what kind of psychological phases are my audiences going through. For example, in order for me to come up with this particular video where I'm branding back to the basics on how I actually film myself, it's because I am also having it in my head that the people who are getting started with video content creation, a lot of them might not be accustomed to filming content. And that is why every single piece of content I'm creating of late is actually a beginner's guide, because a beginner would want to know, why exactly am I doing something this particular way and not the other way? Why am I told to put this angle and not the other angle? And that can only come by me understanding my audience's psychological traits and ensuring that my videos are catering to that. And then the second thing that I would want you to pay attention when you're filming yourself is that when you're filming your content, make sure you're looking directly into the lens. A lot of us do not pay attention to that. We think because we are filming ourselves and we are using most of the time the front camera, we want to look at ourselves. But if you really want the people who are watching your videos to have a connection with you, make sure you're looking directly through the lenses. Don't look at yourself when you're filming. So it's very, very important for you to ensure you know which lens of your phone you're filming with and look directly through that, so that the person who's going to be on the other side of watching your video can be able to actually build a connection with you, because they do feel you are talking to them because you are looking directly to them. Now, at this particular point, I really want to point out some beginner content creator mistakes that you guys make when you're starting your videography journey. And the very first thing is you try so hard to be someone you're not. Now, if you're trying to become a video content creator, a lot of the times you need to find what makes you unique, whether that's a talking head, a vlog, or whatever it is. But we are not going to deny the fact that there are people you're looking up to, bigger creators, bigger vloggers, bigger people who have a mighty presence when they're shooting their content. Yes, take inspiration from them, but don't copy them. There's a reason why the way Peter McKinnon films his videos works for him and it wouldn't necessarily work for you. No one is you, and that is your superpower, and that is the best thing that I ever had or I ever read for myself when I was getting started with my videography. There's a reason why you have to go through the growth journey and figure out how exactly your videography is going to look like. So your structure, the way you deliver your points, the way you show up in front of a camera, it is going to be highly determined by you being comfortable in your own skin. And that can only happen if you keep on practicing and keep on improving, which leads me directly to the second point, which is you need to lean into more of improving as compared to perfectionism. Because the reason why you're not going to stick with the cause of being a content creator is because you're trying so hard to be perfect. No one is perfect. No one is ever going to hit 100% of the exact things they have in their heads. And that is why you'll hear a lot of content creators telling you to improve at least 1% every single time you're shooting content. And there's a reason why they keep on encouraging that, because every single time you're going to be shooting a new video, you're going to be learning something about yourself, about your filming style, about your delivery style, and all the things that you're doing while you're filming your video content. So ensure that you are leaning more towards improving as compared to you becoming a perfectionist. And that is how you're going to stick the course long enough for you to become the expert that I know you are supposed to be as a video content creator. And so with that being said, I'm really hoping that you guys found this video to be helpful. If you did, then make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. The next video is going to be how to actually edit your videos. So if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions you'd like me to know before I film that particular video, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. But otherwise, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and as always, I will see you in the next one.